Numbers wise, what expectations?
They are aiming for 40,000 barrels per day by the end of the year. And hopefully they will achieve it on the path to achieving that.
I mean, that's good to know. Now, of course, questions, but question mark, why did PMS traded stop?
To celebrate Nigeria, to celebrate Dangote refinery. Remember, even before now, Nigeria used to be one of the largest, if not the largest importer of PMS, petrol, in Africa. And it's started taking over from us now. But with the Dangote refinery coming on stream, that segment of the business has gone down. And so Ando has directed its energy now into crude trading. And so that's what led to that. So traditionally, that segment of the business is no longer profitable for them because the producers have done it again. You recall also that Dangote moved their production from 650, the capacity from 650,000 barrels per day to about 1.4 million barrels per day. Again, that expands their capacity to provide for Nigeria in that segment.
So realistic strategy is what it will be.
Yeah, proper strategy to focus on their core now, which is crude oil trading, and then of course the crude oil production. Of course, you know that Ondo has other complementary businesses. They have Ondo Clean Energy and they have Ondo Mining. Still a little on the broader stage, but they are all contributing towards the growth in the business of Ondo.
Right. I mean, talking about growth, there's been quite a number of developments. I mean, we also know that Ondo market is entering into the Caribbean and downstream market recently. Let's talk about that a little bit more. What's the significance of the Trinidad and Tobago refinery project?
Because of the fact that it will enable them expand their trading capacity, especially in the Caribbean. I mean, remember that Africa is expanding its reach now to reaching out to borders in the Caribbean area. So Ondo is leading from the front to assist in that expansion. So that foray will help them diversify their risks and help them, move more products to that area and opportunities to trade more in crude from that market.
Right. And you also spoke about developments on the front of clean energy and mining, which is always laudable and very welcome. But let's talk about update on share distribution. Of course, I talked about question marks. So is there anything you could share with us about that?
Interestingly, what happened is that Oando have not been paying dividends. They're not been paying dividends. So, but they said, we need to make our shareholders happy. We need to reward our shareholders who have been, with us for a long time now. So they decided to, issue some shares to them in lieu of a cash dividends. And so that's what's happened. So the first tranche has gone. Second one will be done for those who are registered by end of July 2025 to be distributed by next year 2026, and shareholders will get that. And it's a way of saying thank you to the shareholders. And for me as a shareholder, or those who are shareholders, is to be able to look at the direction of the company, look at the growth phase of the company, and as I said before, in one of my analyses, I said the fundamentals are right for the company. The only way the company can grow nice is the trajectory is up. With the integration of now assets into the operations, with the assuming of operatorship, the only thing that can happen now is that the productions will go up. And as I've seen already, even this with 9 months, with the growth, about 6% growth in the production, that or more, and everything bottom out to the increased profitability for the company.
So it's a great time to be an Oando shareholder. So if you're enjoying Mr. Chika, literally, all right. If you joined us midway, I've been chatting with Arise business analyst Chika Mbono. Always a pleasure to have you here. And of course, we'll be seeing you again very soon.
Thank you.
All right, then have a lovely day.
Thank you.
You're watching the Global Business Report here on Arise News. More after the break. Do stay tuned.
All you need to ask yourself is that where is everybody's money going?
It's important for you to find people that connect with you where you are now, but also complement your weaknesses.
Make sure that what you have can test anybody anywhere. What inspired me to start my business? Hunger.
Banking prepared me for that. Showing up, waking up early, being dedicated.
The power is in us as people. We are the new oil.
The new media, don't be afraid of
What
it.
makes you stand out is differentiation. This is going to be my footprint. I'm not going to be in any box.
partnership that makes sense. Are you a manufacturer, distributor, or reseller? It's time to go big with Konga.com. Gain massive visibility, reach every corner of Nigeria at lower cost, and be more profitable. We've got you covered with secure warehouses, nationwide logistics, and Konga Pay, the trusted payment platform that guarantees timely payments. Let's partner to grow your business and build a stronger economy. Email onboarding@konga.com today. Konga, the e-commerce group you trust. Partnership that makes sense. Are you a manufacturer, distributor, or reseller? It's time to go big with Konga.com. Gain massive visibility, reach every corner of Nigeria at lower cost, and be more profitable. We've got you covered with secure warehouses, nationwide logistics, and Konga Pay, the trusted payment platform that guarantees timely payments. Let's partner to grow your business and build a stronger economy. Email onboarding@konga.com today. Konga, the e-commerce group you trust.
Many thanks for staying with us and welcome back to the Global Business Report here on Arise News. The Future Investment Initiative in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia has come to a close, but the conversations continue, particularly around venture debt and private credit. Stride Ventures, a global private credit and venture debt fund manager, recently closed its ADGM fund with a commitment to deploying $500 million across the Gulf region by 2029. Our founder and managing director of the fund, Ishrik Singh Gandhi, spoke with Arise Business correspondent Roda Siduri. Let's have a look.
All right, this is, of course, the Future Investment Initiative, the 9th edition here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Arise News has been speaking to executives from around the world. We are very, very happy to have Mr. Ishrik Singh Gandhi, who is the founder and managing partner of Stride Ventures. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us and talking to Arise News. And I really enjoyed your panel on the Indian economy and reforms. I wanted to ask you about your company. We want to learn more about your company. To help us, I guess, it sounds obvious, venture debt and private credit. But can you talk to us about why you focus on that niche for startups, for funding startups?
Sure. Thank you, first of all, for having us on Arise. It's our pleasure. So basically, we treat ourselves as capital provider. And we do believe that if you see tech ecosystem in India and globally, there is very less understanding of how you can use capital to grow your business without diluting your ownership. So if you start a business tomorrow, you would want to be the owner of that business, right? So the important aspect is how do you create a capital stack which is unique in nature, understanding businesses and creating solutions which fits into the requirements of growth capital of those businesses. And the best form to do it is credit, because while people might treat it as an obligation, we are very flexible. So we can be 2 years to 4 years of capital for you, where you can grow your business, increase your turnover, increase your revenues, and have better values for your business. And that's been the vacancy to have a global brand in that segment. So while we started from India, I did it for banks earlier, I do believe that this ecosystem of tech enablement, where the founders are trying to create a unique business, the capital solutions are not easily available to them. So that's why we opted to do credit in this. We do carry some equity options in these companies. So as they become bigger, we get better returns with the base returns of credit. That's how we work.
Fantastic. So I guess, how do you, interest income would be part of your returns and so on. How do you mitigate risk since you're lending? I guess it's mid to growth companies, right, that are scaling. So how do you mitigate your risk?
So we start, just to give you an understanding, we typically start as early as Series A.
Okay.
So if a company has got 8-10 million of revenues, I've got an institutional investor, their unit economics positive, we come in play.
Okay.
Our ticket sizes can be as low as $2 to $5 million to start, can go up to $40-50 million, depending how the company's requirements are. In some cases of co-investment, we cost 100 million as well. So we can really go up to IPO.
Okay.
So treat us as a partner, which is largely sector agnostic, but can come in as early as Series A and go up to IPO and fit in anywhere. So that's typically how it works. On the risk mitigation, to your point, look, we are a senior secured. So the point is that we create structures in a manner that we get paid out of the cash flows of the company.
Okay.
And you do have charge of the companies, but our intent, Protus, to do this is to make sure that we educate the founders, right? As I said, because when the company grows very fast when they get venture capital or private equity money. They don't have the right corporate infrastructure to excel.
Right.
They don't have like the best of the CFOs in their company. So they can lose the plot.
Mm.
So the way we educate our private equity VC investors whom we work with, since we come on the cap table as well, is why not we give corporate hygiene to a company? The way it will behave like a mid corporate and large corporate. So it's important that they know the essence of credit, how it works,
Mm.
because it is like every large companies you treat in any kind of industry will require it.
Right.
How do you make them early as tech-enabled company to be prepared? So our risk mitigation revolves around that. And how do you educate them?
Yeah.
And by default, you protect your risk.
Gotcha.
Because you are trying to follow the cash flows. So a founder is very particular about repayments, the cash flows. So indirectly, that's how you being a senior secured lender, this is how you get protected.
Makes sense. Thank you for educating us on that. So your footprint, I want to come to your footprint now, Southeast Asia, the Gulf, and also the UK. I mean, see, coming from India, it's an emerging market. Can you tell us about your footprint in the UK and how that fits in as that's a developed market compared to the others?
So our thought was very clear that we were not creating a venture credit or a venture debt firm. We want to create an institution which initiates from India.
Mm.
And the reason of initiating from India, maybe we belong from there, but I do believe India has been a global finance centers or back center for a lot of large financial institutions. India possesses very good talent, very good understanding of finance. How do we use that bench strength and take it global? So we wanted to get right in India. We're the most active investor in India.
Mm.
So that moment we achieved that, we got a confidence to start in the neighboring countries where the proximity is high, bilateral relationships are good. So Middle East was a we started with Abu Dhabi, with the ADGM headquarter fund, and then we started deploying in the region in Riyadh as well now. We just announced 2-3 companies recently. And the reason to be in UK, because ultimately you have to be a global fund. We're
Right.
very clear with that thought, right? So you have to start either being in Europe, UK, Europe, or you go to US. We want to be at certain size and scale to enter US, right? So UK becomes an obvious choice, A, and B also it is still a capital financial center for a lot of things.
Right.
We do work with a lot of large global institutional investors. We fund their companies across regions. In fact, half of the people I met here are sitting out of UK,
Wow. Okay.
right?
Oh wow.
The private equity, VC investor, and the credit providers,
Mm.
right? So
Gotcha.
they have a very strong base there. We need to have a base there in order to make sure that we are ready for the global capital unwinding.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Makes sense. Now I want to come to the Gulf, and you mentioned a couple of deals. Starting with BRICS, the $30 million deal that they signed, a debt deal they signed with you. I think that they're a platform that's linked with construction projects, linking players in the construction sector. Can you tell us about the opportunity you saw there? Is it linked to the infrastructure plans in Saudi Arabia and so on? And what informed that deal you signed with them?
Okay, so one of the unique things which Lotus comes with us is an experience of doing this in India for 10-15 years. And India has become a third largest tech ecosystem.
Right.
So there are a lot of companies who've done a playbook which has really been successful. So we've funded a lot of companies in India to become a $3-5 billion company in this segment. That understanding of construction or fintech or consumer is what you can take globally,
Right.
right? So the reason to do BRICS, because we have done those companies earlier in India, and they've scaled massively. They've scaled like 30 to 50x or 100x since our investment,
Wow.
right? So and
Good return for you.
yeah, so on the equity upside,
Right,
yes.
right,
So
right.
the point is that how do BRICS actually, as you rightly said, cater to a large infrastructure deployment in Saudi, and how do you have a tech platform where the smaller vendors can get access to the larger buyers, and how do you consolidate under one platform? So even a steel and cement, all the infrastructure needs,
Mm.
the smaller vendors not only need access to the large vendors and your various layers, unorganized layers in between, also how to finance them. BRICS does both.
Right.
It provides the commodity with the underlying finance,
Right.
right? So that's why it's a stretch facility of 30 million where we keep on deploying as per the use cases, and we've started deploying already to that.
Okay, well done. Congrats on that deal. Another deal, or rather a partnership, is with Saab Invest, which I believe is an institutional investor here in the Gulf. And I think I want to tie this to your earlier answer where you talked about training founders and making sure that they are, up to speed on how to operate. Because I mean, what we read on the press release is that you are coming in. You give us some more information there. But you're coming in to also advise them on how to get, access more SMEs and how to just bring more pipeline to this. Can you tell us about the partnership with Saab?
Sure. So look, overall the private credit market is generally just said as a large opportunity.
Mm.
We believe the private credit market has to be broken down. Within private credit market, there is SME finance, there's asset-backed finance, there is sponsor-backed financing, which is what we say ourselves. So sponsor-backed financing, we do not have a large global peers in the region. We come in there, where we have relationships with all the top global investors. We've been partnered to them in India. We've done 500 plus transactions in India, so we're the largest partner from the large global funds. Right? So the point is that the region is now expanding to an extent that the credit needs and the capital needs are increasing. And government infrastructure, government support has been very robust. But there are a lot of private managers who now believe that there is a time for private credit or SME credit to really get developed in the region. And we have been treated as a subject matter expert to do that because we have done a lot of SME financing in India, we've done asset-backed financing and sponsor credit we do. So SAP, to your part, they're large asset managers. They have $36 billion asset under management, and they really want to go deeper in credit. And that's where we have partnered.
That's where you come in.
Yeah, so we become their venture credit, private credit deployer in the region. And it's a very large facility. We're not announced that facility, but you'd see a very deep partnership evolving from here.
Fantastic. So since we are here, I do want you to speak to the Future Investment Initiative, where we are here, of course, in Riyadh. You talked about the government support for infrastructure. Can you speak to, I know the Saudis have the Vision 2030, but the marriage between government policy and, you know, the attraction for private sector for you, and I guess this environment where we are, and this the summit. Can you speak to how all that comes together?
Yeah, I think it's been amazing for us. And this is the third edition we have participated in. And the whole thought is, I think the way it says Future Investment Initiative, I think you have geopolitics, there's so many things happening. It's very difficult to track it through news.
Right.
You have to sense it on ground. These kind of initiatives help all the global leaders to come together, right? And you have real dialogues with them in a candid manner, one-on-one, what's happening. And what do you see happening. Can you be their eyes and ears? Can you get them more about a particular country and industry in real time? I think these conversations have lost its charm over a period of time. It used to happen a lot in physical domains with virtual settings coming in, and you can be like you're in that zone where you're digitally enabled by a lot of things. I think these initiatives just help you come together, have candid conversations, talk about the geography, economy. We spoke about India recently, what we believe of India. Very few people know what India is, to be honest, in my own, especially in the global scenario. While I think there's a great leadership and we have done amazing work as India, right? There's a lot of investments which people are very excited about India. We've crossed 4 trillion. We're on the verge of going. So India itself, but till the time you do not come to India, you would not know what India is. So the second way to do or tell about India is to be in these forums and speak about what the country, and similarly for any of the geography. So these kind of initiatives are amazingly done, and we have had a lot of business partnerships which has worked well.
Fantastic. I know you're pressed for time. I have to talk about Africa. That's where Arise News is based. We broadcast across the continent. We're also in the UK. And I did notice that Africa is not part of your footprint, but I know you're expanding. Can you give me an honest assessment of the, because I know we've talked about mitigating risk, and we all know that the narratives of the African continent, but there have been a lot of reforms, particularly where I'm from in Nigeria, Ethiopia, and South Africa, and so on. What is your honest assessment of the venture capital space in Africa, and I guess, you know, what you think of it, honestly,
No, our strategy team has been at it for a year.
Okay.
You mentioned about UK, again, there's a reason for being in UK. Gives you an access to understanding better about geographies. While I believe Africa is naturally one of the largest continents, you have to be there to feel it, right? It's like India. So I think the way we have been looking at Africa is to understand a bit more through these communications platforms, talk to a lot of global leaders who've been here, and I've had conversations around that. So the point is this, just to, you need to be in Nigeria or South Africa to do tech ecosystem. You need to understand the inflation, you need to understand the interest rates, you need to understand the insolvency processes to do something meaningfully big there. And there's so many countries within Africa, right? So I think we're reaching those nuances, and we do believe, as I told you, that if you have to be truly global fund, you have to be in emerging economies. Coming out of emerging economy, in case you don't understand Africa, then it will be difficult for other global fund managers to do it, because we know India itself is very complicated for global investors to understand. But for us, it's very easy in our mind, which you have to communicate, right? So that's about Africa. So we're talking about it, we're looking at it, and let's see where it goes.
Fantastic. I don't want to talk politics because that's we're supposed to focus on business. But I guess just with what's been going on, I believe President Trump and Xi are meeting today to talk about trade. Narendra Modi is a close friend of President Trump. India and US have good relations, and I know there's a lot of talk about the tariffs and everything. Since you're sector agnostic, surely have any of the companies in your portfolio been impacted by all this tariff talk, and has any of that impacted the model or
Not necessarily,
Yeah.
because our model is very unique. Our model is that while we do fund global expansion of companies, I think today's companies are very particular about which countries to expand, and that's why maybe partners like us can be helpful, because we know we are going into geographies and funding. We can then tell them to land and as of now, simply more tech oriented companies. I think the only one sector which we as India will be conscious about is the outsourcing of tech. And that's not pertaining to politics
Right.
specifically. It's just in general what's happening in the tech ecosystem.
Yeah.
AI, we have been outsourcing country in terms of tech.
Yeah.
Besides that, not something which impacts tech in general.
Okay.
Because I do believe in private tech investments, it's all about the merits and the right investments you do, which is still happening. And US is a tech economy itself, right? So not in general, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I'm not that ladder to understand what's happening.
Gotcha. Final question, since you mentioned tech, NVIDIA made news yesterday. They just crossed $5 trillion in market cap. I mean, they only what, $2 trillion in 2023 or so. So it's been a rapid rise. The AI boom, is it hype? India, of course, very tech focused. I just wanted to get your thoughts. And there were lots of panels on artificial intelligence here. Where do you see this going? Are there opportunities there for you? How do you see the whole artificial intelligence movement as it is right now?
I think the way it happened for internet, right? It is a similar platform we are getting as AI. I do understand that a lot of companies are getting funded, and it's been the buzzword for a while now. And FI has concentrated or not. I think it again depends country to country. I believe UAE and Saudi is really taking good opportunities,
Yeah.
right? They're talking right. India is doing a lot of the inference models, because we do believe that there's a lot of good initiatives we can do on the large LLMs. So we're going deeper in order to understand, okay, what's happening in the fintech and the healthcare perspective. I think every country is taking its own stance. At the same time, if you've read that OpenAI has made India free
Right.
for a year,
Yeah.
it's the first of its kind, right? So I do think the adaptation on India can be amazing, right? Specifically as a country, and similarly for Africa, right? Because you have an access to great tools, and that tools can be really engaging. I think it has to be used as a base infrastructure, and then not all the companies will be successful. Some of them will become very, very large companies, the way it happened during Amazon and Google time.
Yeah.
And let's see where it goes from here. But honestly, I'm as clued in as you, and trying to understand as much. But I do believe that every country is taking its own stance.
Yes. Mr. Ishprit Singh Gandhi, the founder and managing partner at Stride Ventures. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for coming to Arise.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
A continuous rise in the cost of fossil fuel energy services and energy products has led to a continuous setback and distress to business community and the economy. Medium and small-scale industries and the manufacturing sector are closing down owing to the unaffordable cost of diesel and petrol to power their setups. In a colloquium organized by Genex Technology to mark its 10th anniversary, industry experts and stakeholders converged to discuss the way forward for alternative energy sources, for which solar energy systems prove the best alternative. Let's have a look.
Because energy is evolving, technology is evolving, and we are bringing new innovations. It is mandatory on us to always train our people in making sure at all times they keep with the space. And that's why we have organized a Genex Academy, and we do that from batch 1, we are now batch 16. It means we are not making people to be left behind. People are coming into that space and learning new technologies. And what we are doing today is in making sure that we do the academy and making sure we train a lot of people. We have trained over 1,500 engineers and technicians who are up to the task. And all of them, apart from working for us, they are setting up their businesses and they are making good, decent margin decent life for themselves.
Achieving our aims. Partner and Nigeria are seeing it grow. Empowering people, training people, making sure that we provide employment through our training arms. It has been a very, very vital and great achievement for us, having to produce in Nigeria, having to create most of these materials, solar components being produced here in Nigeria. And that's the basis of this colloquium that we organize every year, so that we can bring people, industry players to discuss solar and solve the solution and bring solar in the solar components having to be manufactured in Nigeria, so that we cut away the cost of importation, making the price more affordable. Bringing it from the global involvement of the global economy on renewable energy, then bringing it home to what Nigeria has done so far. Nigeria has set up several agencies. They have done several policies to impact positively on the renewable energy progress. So the government is doing a lot to make sure that this power problem is solved. So by the time they take a lot of the rural areas off the grid, then the cities will be powered by the national grid, and we'll have enough capacity to power what we need to.
And that's it on the Global Business Report for now, but stay tuned to Arise News. For all of us, many thanks for your company. I am Abby Walawi.
Are you struggling with a health challenge? Do you need financial help to access treatment?
That's how I'm trying. I need help. I want to try again. I know it's expensive.
Apply now for MHSS, the Maternal Health Service Support, a discounted loan by the W initiative of Access Bank. For more information, visit our website on www.vwcommunity.com or any Access Bank branch nationwide. You can also send an email to wcares@accessbankplc.com. Terms and conditions apply.
As we gather tonight to celebrate the 2025 Icon Gala honorees.
Being an icon is about service. It's about resilience and leaving space for others to rise. I accept this award not just for myself, but for every single African and diasporic creator daring to dream big.
We are the libraries they tried to burn. But Africa is right now.
OON, the Trailblazers Managing Director and CEO of Fidelity Bank PLC.
We are Fidelity. We keep our word.
Hello, fellow Nigerians. I'm Larry Shaulilu, the Director General of the National Orientation Agency. A relatively short history since independence, remarkable achievements are unfolded. However, we can only acknowledge these successes if we choose to focus on the positive. Remember, you cannot see the light if you keep your eyes closed. great things are happening to many Nigerians. Our country is a land of opportunity for those who are positive. As National Orientation Agency, we are committed to highlighting the many uplifting stories under the renewed hope agenda. We invite you to listen to the testimonies of fellow Nigerians who are experiencing the positive impact of government initiatives and Nigerian environment. Nigeria is thriving for millions in extraordinary ways, but it requires a mindset of optimism and a heartfelt love for our country to truly appreciate this progress. Join us on this journey of growth. Our cup is half full, not half empty. Embrace positivity and be a proud Nigerian. I am a proud Nigerian.
My name is Wesley Chris. I'm from Plateau State, and I'm EXO Asian Refrigerator. I participated at the A&R, which means the AC and the refrigerator. Before I joined the program, I was into computer science. I attended a cafe where I learned computer. So as a science student, I decided that than for me to offer computer alone, I should add up something. This has helped me a lot. I've acquired some new skills. I've done a lot for myself. It has helped me in so many ways. While I was at the computer cafe, I was learning. So there was nothing much, I was not getting anything from that. But after the training, from here I can say this is better. My income for now is better than before. That will be sorry. In this special, we have a newcomer in the shop. I do take him through. I do teach him some other things. My mom and dad are alive. I have 3 siblings. And I'm the first one. Through this program, I've acquired a lot. I do sort out my bills on my own and then help also at home. So the program has helped me. They taught us other things, and then while they were teaching us, they told us that they won't teach us everything. We're willing, we should go and then learn from other places to acquire more knowledge. The ITF Industrial Training Funds is the best for we youths. My advice for we youths, we should try and take it serious because they don't know where it will help them tomorrow. Nigeria has happened to me positively through ITF program.
National Orientation Agency.
Coming soon to over 500 million smartphone users and 1.5 billion voices. Leke, the social platform for the world, out of Africa. By the founders of Arise and This Day Media Group, we're going to be launching with a big bang. A new homegrown social platform born in Africa and built for the world, blending community, culture, and cutting-edge AI. It's fast, culturally rooted, data-friendly, and designed to scale globally. A digital platform for youth, creators, and business. A one-stop shop to connect, share, create, and earn. It's time to end social media imperialism. This is Leke, a voice for all.
You're watching Arise, the world's standout news channel. Arise News, awards, and beyond.
watching Newsday. Over the next 4 hours, we'll bring you all the day's stories live from Nigeria's commercial capital, Lagos State, including a devastating 6.3 magnitude earthquake strikes northern Afghanistan, killing at least 20 people and injuring hundreds. Plus, the mayor of the western Mexican city of Uruapan, is shot and killed in front of crowds during Day of the Dead festivities. And in Kenya, the death toll from a landslide in the Rift Valley rises to 26, with 25 others still missing. We'll bring you details of these and more shortly. Thanks for sticking with us. The devastating 6.3 magnitude earthquake struck northern Afghanistan early Monday, killing at least 20 people and injuring more than 260 others, with officials warning the toll could rise. The U.S. Geological Survey said the trauma occurred near Mazar-e-Sharif at the depth of nearly 30 kilometers, prompting an orange alert for potentially severe casualties and damage. Authorities say Bok and Samangan provinces were hardest hit as emergency crews worked to pull survivors from the rubble. Part of the historic Blue Mosque in Mazar-e-Sharif was reported damaged in the quake. The Taliban's defense and health ministries have mobilized rescue and medical teams, while nearby hospitals remain on high alert. The disaster highlights Afghanistan's deep vulnerability to seismic shocks, coming just months after a deadly quake in the country's southeast claimed over 2,000 lives. Now, shock and grief have gripped the western Mexican city of Uruapan after its mayor, Carlos Alberto Manzo Rodriguez, was shot dead during Day of the Dead festivities on Saturday night. The attack, carried out in front of dozens of residents and tourists, left the mayor mortally wounded and 2 others injured. Officials say the gunman, who was later killed in the seat at the scene, used a weapon tied to clashes between rival cartels operating in Michoacan, one of Mexico's most violent states. Hundreds of mourners dressed in black took to the streets on Sunday, chanting justice as they escorted the mayor's coffin through the city. Well, known as the Mexico Bukele, or his uncompromising security stance, Manzo Rodriguez had accused state officials of corruption and sought federal help to tackle organized crime. His assassination, the latest in a series of high-profile political killings, underscores the deepening crisis of violence and impunity, eroding governance in cartel-plagued regions of Mexico.
Under the instructions of President Claudia Sheinbaum, we have convened to share important information about the unfortunate homicide of the municipal president of Uruapan, Carlos Manzo Rodriguez. On behalf of the government of Mexico, we send our most sincere condolences to his family, his loved ones, and the inhabitants of Uruapan, who today are suffering a painful and unjust loss at the hands of organized crime. Yesterday, at around 8:10 p.m., after the conclusion of a public event in the center of Uruapan, a man dressed in a white hoodie and black trousers fired 7 shots with a firearm at the municipal president Carlos Manzo, who was taken to a hospital where he sadly lost his life later at the scene. The assailant was neutralized by security personnel guarding the area. A 9mm handgun was seized, as well as the 7 shell casings corresponding to the firearm. In this attack, Councilor Victor Hugo de la Cruz was also injured but is now out of danger. According to the initial investigations, it was possible to identify that the seized weapon is linked to 2 previous incidents of assaults between opposing criminal groups operating in the region since December 2024. Carlos Manzo had been assigned protection, and in May of this year it was further reinforced. His immediate security was provided by trusted personnel from the municipal police. And the National Guard assigned 14 officers to assist with perimeter security in accordance with the municipal president's request, in addition to 2 official vehicles for his protection. Unfortunately, The attackers took advantage of the vulnerability of a public event to carry out the attack.
Además de 2 vehículos oficiales para su resguardo. Lamentablemente, los agresores aprovecharon la vulnerabilidad de un evento público para realizar el ataque.
Now, tensions played in Belgrade on Sunday as hundreds of protesters gathered outside the Serbian parliament for rival pro and anti-government rallies under tight police security. Riot police formed barricades between the opposing groups as demonstrators waved national flags and chanted slogans in the heart of the capital. The anti-government protest was led by supporters of a mother marking the first anniversary of the Novi Sad train station canopy collapse, which killed her son and many others. Her hunger strike has reignited demands for snap elections, justice for victims, and an end to corruption. Later in the evening, government supporters staged a counter-rally backing President Alexander Vučić, who has since invited leaders of the student blockade movement to a public dialogue. The tragedy continues to fuel one of Serbia's most significant civic uprisings in years. Israel has confirmed receiving the remains of 3 hostages from Gaza on Sunday as a fragile month-old ceasefire with Hamas continues to hold. The Red Cross delivered the bodies, reportedly recovered from a tunnel in southern Gaza, to Israeli authorities for forensic identification in Tel Aviv. U.S. President Donald Trump said one of the victims was Omar Nutra, a dual American-Israeli citizen and tank platoon commander killed in October 7, 2023. Hamas-led attack that triggered the war. The latest exchange brings to 20 the number of hostage remains returned since the truce began on the 10th of October as negotiations persist over Gaza's future governance and security. Israel has reciprocated by releasing 15 Palestinian remains under this U.S. broker deal, which includes plans for an international stabilization force to secure Gaza's borders. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to eliminate remaining Hamas strongholds in Rafah and Khan Yunis, while families of the dead continue to rally. They urge restraint and a permanent end to the conflict.
There are still Hamas pockets in areas under our control in Gaza, and we are systematically eliminating them. There are actually 2, one in Rafah and one in Khan Yunis, and they will be eliminated.
The fragile ceasefire in Gaza is under renewed strain as Israeli airstrikes hit Khan Yunis, deepening the humanitarian crisis in the enclave. Health authorities say at least 15,000 patients, many of them children, are awaiting urgent evacuation from hospitals that have run out of essential supplies and power. With medical facilities overwhelmed and the border crossings closed, even minor injuries and treatable illnesses are becoming fatal. Aid groups warn that the suspension of medical evacuations has pushed Gaza's healthcare system to near total collapse as doctors struggle to operate in overcrowded wards with dwindling medical and fuel. The latest escalation threatens to unravel recent diplomatic efforts to sustain the truce, leaving thousands of civilians caught between collapsing infrastructure and renewed hostilities. Meanwhile, in Pakistan, the Navy says it will commission its first Chinese-designed Panga-class submarine in 2026, marking a major milestone in a $5 billion defense deal with Beijing. The agreement includes the delivery of 8 diesel-electric attack submarines by 2028, 4 of which are being built in China, while the remaining 4 will be constructed at Karachi shipyard with Chinese technical support. The project, one of Pakistan's largest ever naval procurements, underscores deepening military cooperation between China and Pakistan in the midst of shifting regional power dynamics. The submarines are expected to bolster Pakistan's maritime surveillance and deterrence capabilities in the Arabian Sea and the wider Indian Ocean region. Now, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says Germany has delivered 2 additional Patriot air defense systems to Ukraine, strengthening the country's capacity to defend against Russian missiles and drone attacks. In a national address, Zelensky thanked the German Chancellor Merz and the Ukraine's Western partners, including Denmark, Lithuania, and Norway, which helped finance the delivery. The new Patriots add to the 3 systems Germany supplied earlier this year.
Шановні українці, українки, сьогодні вже можна сказати, що є.
Fellow Ukrainians, today we can already say there is a good result for our air defense. Ukraine now has more Patriots. I would like to thank Chancellor Merz, I thank Germany, and everyone who helps. Our agreements have been fulfilled. More Patriots are now in Ukraine and being put into operation. Of course, more systems are needed to protect key infrastructure sites and our cities across the entire territory of our state. And we will continue working to obtain them, not only at the political level with states and leaders, but also directly with manufacturers of all necessary air defense systems and missiles for them. Meetings on this will take place next week, and we have presented our partners with all calculations and possible options for ensuring sufficiently reliable air defense. Almost every day, we defend ourselves against Russian ballistic strikes. We must continue destroying Russian military aviation, and all of this requires a multi-component air defense system, including our own combat aircraft. In this context, we already have decisions regarding Gripens and French aircraft, and we are working on F-16s. This also includes air defense systems and missiles for them, developing mobile fire groups. And, of course, interceptor drones, a current priority. The number of interceptors this year will be as specified by the state's directive.
Вони перехоплювачі, кількість перехоплювачів.
You're watching News Stay here on Arise News. Coming right up, tragedy in Kenya Rift Valley. The death toll climbs after a devastating landslide with dozens still missing as rescue teams race against time. Details shortly. Stay with us.
There's nothing better than the roar of your fans. But in Nigeria, there's a roar that will not be heard. With fewer than 50 lions left in the wild, they could be extinct in the next few years. From loss of habitats and prey, and snares set for illegal bushmeat. Please say no to illegal bushmeat, and let's keep the roar alive for Nigeria. Poaching steals from us all.
We want to officially welcome you all to the first day of the conference programming at Africon FNIPCC 2025, presented by Fidelity Bank Nigeria.
I see in Lagos, Georgia, as a mutual gesture. Today, we're not just discussing policy, but forging partnership.
Fidelity Bank Nigeria has risen to be the #1 bank in non-oil export agri.
We are Fidelity. We keep our word.
You're watching Newsday live on the Arise News channel. Let's head to Kenya here in Newsday, where authorities say the death toll from the landslide in the Rift Valley has risen to 26. The disaster struck Elgeyo Marakwet County on Saturday after torrential rainfall triggered deadly flooding and mudslides. Government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura says another 25 people remain missing, while 26 others have been rescued. most of them currently receiving medical treatment. The Kenyan government has deployed military aircraft and specialized emergency response teams to scale up the search and rescue operations. Climate scientists warn that extreme weather events like this are becoming more frequent across East Africa due to climate change. Neighboring Uganda has also suffered deadly rainfall, with at least 13 deaths reported from landslides this week. And the United States is engaging top Qatari officials on the worsening violence in Sudan and the broader insecurity sweeping across the Sahel region. In a post on X, the U.S. Senior Advisor for Arab and African Affairs said her meeting with Qatar's Minister of State focused on the horrific violence in El Fasher and the urgent need to protect civilians and expand humanitarian access. The discussions also touched on efforts to stabilize the wider Sahel as jihadist activity, political upheavals, and displacement continue to undermine progress across the region. Both sides also reviewed ongoing peace efforts in the Democratic Republic of Congo, including the Doha track towards a settlement between the AFC M23 and Kinshasa, with Washington commending Qatar's continued role in facilitating dialogue. Pope Leo has called for an immediate ceasefire and humanitarian access in Sudan, declaring that he is following the situation with great sorrow. The reports of extreme brutality in Darfur's Al Fasher. This is during his Angelus address at the St. Peter's Square. The pontiff condemned indiscriminate violence against civilians, including women and children, as unacceptable suffering, and urged the international community to act decisively and generously to support relief efforts. The UN says hundreds of civilians may have been killed late last month when the Rapid Support Forces seized Al Fasher after an 18-month siege, prompting tens of thousands to flee. And Pope Leo has also turned his attention to Tanzania, renewing his plea for restraint amid reports of mass casualties following the country's disputed elections. At the conclusion of his Angelus address, the pontiff said violent clashes had left many victims and urged both authorities and civilians to avoid further bloodshed. He called for all sides to choose dialogue, not force, as the nation battles growing unrest and a widespread communication blackout. Pope Leo appealed for an end to reprisals and encouraged leaders to prioritize national reconciliation. He also asked the faithful to pray for the people of Tanzania, especially the families of those killed in the violence. Meanwhile, hundreds of passengers have been left stranded at airports across Tanzania, including the island of Zanzibar, after President Samia Suluhu Hassan was declared winner of the country's disputed election, with more than 97% of the vote. Domestic flights were cancelled and travelers struggled to confirm international connections as internet access remains unstable nationwide. One French tourist told reporters they were unable to travel from Zanzibar to Paris because their connecting flight to Nairobi was cancelled. Several Western governments have now advised their citizens not to travel to Tanzania after last week's vote was marred by violent protests and heavy security clampdown in major cities. Kenya's President William Ruto has congratulated Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu on her re-election, despite the chaos that followed last week's heavily disputed vote. In a statement issued today, President Ruto said Kenya and Tanzania share a joint vision of a peaceful, prosperous, and integrated East Africa, calling on all political actors in Tanzania to prioritize dialogue and tolerance to safeguard stability. Tanzania's election was mired by street protests, tear gas, and arrests after the main opposition party, Chadema, boycotted the vote, saying the exercise was neither free nor fair. The Electoral Commission declared President Hassan winner with nearly 98% of the vote. Opposition groups say hundreds were killed in the crackdown, while the UN has cited credible reports that at least 10 people died. The government has dismissed the opposition figures as exaggerated. Still on congratulations, Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni has also weighed in on the post-election developments in Tanzania, congratulating President Samia Suluhu Hassan on her re-election. In a social media post, Museveni said the result reflects the confidence Tanzanians have placed in her leadership and reaffirmed Uganda's commitment to deepening bilateral cooperation with Dar es Salaam, especially in trade infrastructure and regional integration. Museveni added that both countries share historic bonds of friendship and says he looks forward to continued partnership under President Samia's new term. The President of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Felix Antoine Tshisekedi, has also congratulated Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu Hassan on her re-election. According to another statement from Kinshasa, President Tshisekedi, who is currently in Doha for the World Summit for Social Development, spoke by phone with President Suluhu, praising what he described as her leadership, wishing her a successful new term focused on stability, socio-economic development, and more. He also commended what he called the maturity of the people of Tanzania and expressed hopes that Kinshasa and Dar es Salaam will further strengthen their bilateral ties. The two nations share long-standing cultural, historic, and economic links as neighbors in the Great Lakes region. Meanwhile, the President of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Felix Tshisekedi, has arrived in Doha, where he will attend the Second World Summit for Social Development, hosted by Qatar under the auspices of the United Nations General Assembly. President Tshisekedi, accompanied by the First Lady Denise Keru, was warmly received by Qatari authorities on Sunday ahead of the three-day summit, which runs from the 4th to 6th of November. Leaders, policymakers, and humanitarian actors from around the world are gathering to discuss strategies to tackle poverty, inequality, and social exclusion, while promoting decent work, social justice, and equal opportunity. The Netherlands says it will return a 3,500-year-old Egyptian sculpture that resurfaced at an art fair in Maastricht after investigators confirmed it had been looted and illegally exported from Egypt, likely during the unrest of the Arab Spring in 2011. Dutch Prime Minister Dick Schoof announced the decision during his visit to Cairo, where he met with President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. The artifact believed to depict a senior official from the reign of Pharaoh III. Pharaoh Thutmose III was seized in 2022 after an anonymous tip raised suspicion. Dutch police and cultural heritage authorities later confirmed its illicit origin. The dealer who held the structure voluntarily handed it over during the probe. The sculpture is expected to be formally returned to Egypt before the end of the year. Now, moments after announcing that the Netherlands will return this 3,500-year-old stolen artifact to Egypt, the Dutch Prime Minister Dick Schoof has also shared more details on his visit to Cairo. Schoof, who met with the Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, along with Benelux counterparts, said the discussions focused on strengthening ties, including cultural cooperation as well as security concerns across the region. He said the talks also addressed growing atrocities in Sudan, stressing that the international community must act. The Dutch leader also highlighted Egypt's key role mediating the Gaza ceasefire, describing the situation as extremely fragile and urging all parties to keep the peace process on track. Schoof hailed the opening of Egypt's Grand Egyptian Museum as a milestone, adding that it presents a new opportunity to deepen cultural exchange. Live, a meeting between the Arise News editorial team and northern leaders in Lagos, Nigeria at the Lagos studio, discussing areas of mutual understanding amongst other issues.
Thank you very much, Prince. We are happy to be here. Let me use the opportunity to introduce the members of the delegation. This is the leadership of Arewa Consultative Forum, the national leadership. We have the chairman of the board of trustees, Honorable Alhaji Bashir Alhatu, a well-known name people know, the minister of so many. There we have the chairman of the board of trustees. We have the chairman of the National Executive Committee of the ACF, and that is Senior Advocate Osuma Mama Osuma. This is senior. And then we have the vice chairman of the board of trustees. He is the Turaki of and also Ambassador Maisuli. Then we have the Secretary General of the ACF and also the Tawale of Gombe, Alhaji Muratala Ali. Then we have a member of the Board of Trustees, Alhaji Nasru Bani, who is also here with us. And we have someone that I don't want to, because ordinarily he should not be with me. His own people are who are their masters. So really, he's the Wombai of KB. KB, yes. And I am Senator Ibrahim Ida. I'm also Wazirin Katsina, and also the Deputy Chairman of the ACF. We are here for a purpose, and I'm sure the Chairman of the BOT and the Chairman of NEP will explain the purpose of our here. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Well, let me say that this is for us homecoming. We are coming to our brother, Northerner, first and then Nigeria. But most of all, you are each and every person's brother here. And we cannot describe you enough, but our own brother. So we are at home here. That's the first thing. To pay courtesies to this wonderful team that we always see on television but not have the opportunity to meet in person. I don't know how Ruben describes her every morning with a shout, and then Rufai will give you the title of your village. So we see all this, but we always, this man is so close to our hearts. His organization is so dear to us. And we cannot but pay tribute to you. And thank you very much for what you have been doing for this country. And we know we are still on the way up. We are very proud of what you are doing. We are very proud of your team. We are essentially very happy to be here this afternoon to say hello, well done, and to also tell you that the Arewa Consultative Forum is 25 years old. And we are organizing a 25-year anniversary. And you are a critical factor to that. We told you. Arewa Consultative Forum is an organization established in the year 2000 by all the northern governors, all the northern emirs and chiefs, well, everybody. It's essentially a socio-cultural, political, non-partisan organization that is charged with the overseeing, protecting, and promoting those aspects that we believe are in good conscience will promote economic and social development of the North within the context of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So while we are supposed to be a sectional group, we do so that this country can remain one, indivisible, can continue to be united, cohesive, and can together move each and every one of us, whether we are North or South or Yoruba or Hausa, forward. Actually, ideally, ACF, Afenifere, Indigo, Hanazi should use this sectional leadership for the benefit of the country. We should actually de-emphasize our prominence and emphasize the importance of oneness of Nigeria. But that is, here we are today. While we continue to try and fulfill our own obligations, also try to bring in everybody else along with us. During this ceremony that we are hoping to hold on the 22nd of November, we have invited the Afenifere, the Indigo, the Fendel, all the socio-cultural organizations to come to Kaduna and share with us those moments so that also opportunities could be given to all of us to discuss Nigeria way forward. And the best way forward is unity and cooperation and respect mutually. And that's what we are hoping this 25th anniversary will give us the opportunity to do. We have invited prominent Southern monarchs, and I'm happy to say a lot of them have agreed to come. We want to create a Nigeria for those 3 days so that we are not seen as ACF. That gathering is going to be a Nigerian gathering. Those topics that we are hoping to discuss will be Nigerian topics. We are hoping in the process that the North can learn a lot from the perception of other people, the way they see us, and we are hoping that they can assist us to point out areas that we may not be looking at, so that we can, after use those conclusions of the meeting to benefit our people and to benefit the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This visit, therefore, is we had officially already invited you, and you had given us your word you are coming. Even if you doubted, I would have come personally myself. Take you with me. For you, actually, personally, you are a member of my family. I cannot remember the one of us that you do not know and associate and have been with all these many years. So I am very happy to be here. We are hoping that, of course, since it is a very big occasion for us, it will have the coverage that we are hoping for. the projection of our problems in the north will also help other people to understand us better. We're also hoping to bridge that gap that people say north, 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 as if north doesn't belong to Nigeria. We want the narrative to change. Nigeria, Nigeria, Nigeria. It is becoming quite normal now to say north, northerners, north. And I sit and say, look, no, we shouldn't. We are not northerners, we are Nigerians first. That's how we want to be described. And I believe also Ohanazi Hindi for Afeni Ferependa will rather be described first as Nigerians. And then, of course, the burden that we are carrying, then leaders of some sections in Nigeria. But actually, it would not have been like this. All these different cultural, sectional groupings, if our, I don't know that it was the colonial masters or our own leaders at the initial stages after independence that have created this division that we have not been able to bridge up to now. We are sincerely hoping that what we are going to do in Kaduna is going to begin to show or to provide a beginning of another narrative of de-emphasizing sectional commitment to embracement of national cohesion. So we thank you very much for receiving us this afternoon, and we assure you that we are going to carry back very good, happy memory of our visit here. I haven't seen you for a few months when we've been talking, but I have not been here before. Oh, I am on television. I was going to search beauties around. I have said it. Let me hand over this to my brother, Mama Mike Utma, the chairman of the National Executive Council of ACF, for a few more.
Good afternoon. For me, today is history. Arise is a veritable electronic machine that speaks truth to audience, not to power. I'm aware that in your individual and collective operations, you've been misunderstood. And indeed, 1, 2, 3 of you have been stigmatized. I'm happy to reconcile AI face with human faces. Except to explain in material particulars what Arewa Consultative Forum is. We are a socio-cultural organization. Our emphasis and priority is the North, what we call our region. We believe in unity. We are the voice of the North. We have no prejudices amongst ourselves. The membership is open to every person of Northern abstraction, and you must join formally, provided you are 18 years and above. Our pursuit is conciliatory, satisfying details for our people because of our proximity to our people. And we do this within the context of one Nigeria. On the 20th, 21st, 27th, and 23rd of this month, like the BOT chairman said, we'll be having an epochal occasion. And like he said, it will be a privilege for us if that epochal activity is covered by ARISE. ARISE being a fundamental, veritable power machine that is recognized not only locally but internationally. Thank you, sirs. And I pray that your current trajectory should be extended beyond bridging units, because that will bring curatives to our country. Thank you for the privilege.
Let me first of all say that while I was talking, I forgot to mention that one of you, Suna Shailari, is actually our Deputy Publicity Secretary. We are here first to give you this letter officially, personally hand over the invitation for us, and also I will pin you this badge. As you notice, we are very different.
Yeah, thank you so much, the Honorable Sir Bashir Lahousi, almost President of Nigeria one time. However, as you said, Arewa is for people of northern extraction. So one of our guys said, the one is from Kogi, from northern Nigeria. He will join on our behalf. And we believe in Nigeria. We break Nigeria, and we promote Nigeria. And when people say Nigeria happens to all of us, such that the richest black man in the world is of northern extraction. From Kano, making his money in Lagos. That is Nigeria. The first Nobel laureate is Nigerian, from the southwest. The first Commonwealth Secretary General, Nigerian, from the southeast. So Nigeria works for all of us, and we can make Nigeria work even better. What we need is an equitable Nigeria founded on justice and prosperity. And we will continue to fight for justice. We will support sensible reforms, which is happening now, but we just need to lift more people out of poverty. And that is the direction. So you are welcome to ARISE. We speak truth to make Nigeria a better place. And we'll continue to work with you for the greater good of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
We have just been joined by Barrister Honorable La, Yeah. Well, so I think he has said it all. Late. My good God, so many of them, really. I think she's joined us and she's a member of the board of trustees of the association. I think.
How many questions or comments on that?
The chairman, board chairman of the Arewa Consultative Forum, chairman of our NEC Council, our very distinguished and esteemed elders, the chairman and CEO of this day, my dear brother, Chief Dr. Nduka Obebina, other very powerful members of the Arise team, including my dear brother, Mr. Dr. Ruben Abati. It's a pleasure to be here and want to thank you for the honor. The media has a critical role to play in not just sustaining our democracy, but in being a voice for the voiceless. As you know, Nigeria has been a leading giant in Africa, and we want to keep it that way. But we cannot do that without the media projecting both the positive and the negative. There must be balanced reporting. Northern Nigeria has a lot to offer. We're very rich in resources, we're very talented, and we have challenges of poverty. I think the part of the country that is most affected by poverty is Northern Nigeria. So we would like, first of all, to encourage that our population, both in the north and the south, have equal opportunity, education. We would love to have you in your media, pursuits to encourage more educated young men who can also compete on the, and women, sorry, I'm a woman, who can compete on the global scale. I'm glad we have a lot of, people to look up to. We have Amina, Ibrahim, and others. And we have entrepreneurs, Aliko Dangote. We have enterprising people from the north. And of course, we have so many from the south. The thing is how to forge unity between the north and the south, so that Nigeria remains one indivisible entity. And I believe that whatever challenges we face, we can work together to bridge the gap. And I just want to commend my dear brother Nduka Obebina for this wonderful station, Arise, and this day, and everything you're doing in the media. I think in Africa you're unrivaled and unparalleled. So congratulations. Keep up the good work and keep being a mentor to many. Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, my colleagues of the ACF and my dear friend have been friendly or new friends with him for a very, very long time. And when I say a very, very long time, I mean it. Now, Nigeria is at a crossroad. Nigeria is facing challenges. And I think we as Nigerians should be able to divide our attitude towards our country. When it comes to our internal, we can fight, we can disagree. But when there is an external enemy, we should have an internal cohesion. This is the time. At the time, a lot of negative reports. And I think that is where the likes of the gentleman we see every day will come to play. You have a reputation, you have the medium, and you have the voice to really portray what Nigeria really is, what is really happening. We have people outside forming opinions about Nigeria without really going deep to know what is happening. But we also know that it is politics, international politics. These people know what is the truth. But simply because, as you journalists know, usually the simple truth does not sell. You just have to come. That is what I think we do this. But I think the reputation you have individually and collectively will now have the synergy of portraying. So let me use this opportunity to thank you for what you are doing and to also to urge you to never to relent until you are able to really give out about Nigeria, what Nigeria actually is, not what others have perceived Nigeria to be. We thank you very much and we congratulate you, and we want to tell you that we watch you. We always see you, whatever you do. In fact, you have become a must-see for all those who want to know about objectivity, about sincerity, and about the ability to portray what is good about Nigeria. And all the things that appear to be controversial, I think it also always shows that you don't allow yourself to be cowed by any individual or group of individuals. Well done, sir. Well done, all of you. We wish you very well. Thank you.
Yeah, just a quick comment or question. You are marking the 25th anniversary of ACF, and for about 15 years, the North has been battling with insurgency, terrorism across the Northwest, the Northeast, the North Central. What will you say your group has done, or will you say you are satisfied with the leadership of the North? What impact have you brought that, okay, now we have not been able to find a solution for this thing 15 years after? Where are the elders and the leaders of the North?
Thank you very much. Well, first, let me congratulate the Arewa Consultative Forum as you prepare for your 25th anniversary. I'm sure you are not here for hard questions, but this is a media house, and this is what we do. We ask questions. My question is simple. President Trump is alleging genocide in Nigeria. He's talking about persecution of Christians, and he's saying the Department of War should prepare for military action in Nigeria. What is the position of the Arewa Consultative Forum on this latest development?
Thank you. Two key questions I just asked.
Thank you very much. Let me first say that in the 25 years that the Arewa Consultative Forum has been operating, we have to first of all remember why it was established. At the beginning of the political resurgence in Nigeria in 1999, in the North we have had about 3-4 different organizations, very powerful one, pulling in different directions. So, but to face political time after a longer period of military regime, it was decided that the North should coalesce those organizations into one strong, cohesive mouthpiece for the North. And that's what happened. The people that called that meeting that day asked all those different organizations to melt into ACF. And that's what has been going on for the last 25 years. At the time it was also established, there were a lot of divisions in the North, religious, tribal, ethnic, and one of the biggest, most important task for ACF then was to try and unite and unify those divisions. And I must tell you that we are quite proud to say over the years we have had a lot of, we have recorded a lot of achievements. If you remember those days of Kapanchan, Rai, Tafawa Balewa's risk are no longer with us anymore. But there are still not too smooth relationships which we are still working on. But one of our greatest achievements is the reduction, in a very serious sense, those conflicts that have been that had been bothering us. Now, afterwards, the resurgence, of course, the appearance of the Boko Haram, it started as a religious problem, but then spread out. It was not then in our own control to safeguard the lives and properties. That's the task of the federal government and the military and the security agencies. But still then, we kept talking to the leaders at all levels so that our people can understand and what to do to reduce such harsh effects that we had been going through. I'm glad, Benny, you mentioned how that had, the last 15 years, had brought our position to this nearly pathetic situation. Where we used to be very, very prosperous, outgoing, progressive. We used to be very, very industrious, but factors both that are our own faults in the north and outside influences are combined to, at a time when we are least capable of pushing back, to further deteriorate what we are doing, what we ought to be doing. So this is where we are now, but we are also using this period and this occasion, this celebration, to remind the people that we are not dancing and shouting and singing. We are reminding people the difficulties that have been besieging our own region, and ask people to proffer solutions that we have not thought of until now. As to the question of the American threats, I would personally would have thought the federal government of Nigeria would have established first and foremost a judicial commission of inquiry in Nigeria, so that it could be investigated. Those who have made those claims would have the opportunity to come and put out their evidence. And those who do not think so can also put the evidence, so that the world, an open session, could witness that we are checking ourselves first before we rushed out. I would have also thought that those who had made this complaint had gone to the United Nations instead of the United States of America. We are not a colony of the United States. We do not owe the United States any explanation as to how we run our domestic affairs. What we are doing, however, is to make sure that the world understands the true nature of this conflict. There are so many conflicts in Nigeria. You can easily put a picture and emphasize it. But as to this particular, all of us here, because we are Nigerians, we know that is not true. First, we know also in the last 15 years, the conflict in the northeast, Boko Haram, is not targeted to Christians, is not targeted to Muslims. These are insurgents who want to make headlines every day. In doing so, they don't care whether they kill a Muslim or a Christian, but they are operating in a predominantly Muslim area, so their victims are predominantly Muslims. Of course, they are Christian now, but for an insurgent, he doesn't care whether he kills a Muslim or a Christian. But like the population, obviously, there are more victims that are Muslims than. Then you move towards the northwest, which was enjoying quite a peaceful time until this these bandits started their operation. Now, we can only propagate our people how best to protect and safeguard their families, their villages, their communities, while we at the same time consistently have been talking to the federal government as to the necessity for them to nip the thing in the bud before it spread. It started like a joke in Zamfara, Sokoto, Katsina, now Kebbi and Niger is moving. By the time it's now in Katsina, by the time it gets to Kano, which is next to Jigawa, where I come from, Yobe is quite close. So if government does not take proper immediate action to stop this, very soon the whole of the northern region is going to be covered with these insurgencies. The north central is infested also. And we have always been wondering that the Nigerian military that have fought in Korea, have fought all over the world, has gone to West Africa and sorted them out, have not been able to sort our own problems for 15 years. Now, I understand that there is a difference between an enemy that you can fight face to face and urban guerrilla situation. But we still need to, I think, to put more effort from all of us, but especially from those that are in a position to stop the thing from spreading. And that's what our wishes, our hopes, and I hope that the recent changes in the military leadership is going to provide something that had not been tried before, and that hopefully is going to provide some kind of answer. But the situation is, we have allowed it to spread, we have allowed it to become so intractable that only goodwill and political will and support from every Nigerian will be able to probably provide an answer. Ruben, are you happy?
Very nice.
Are you happy with right?
Arewa Consultative Forum does not have an apparatus with which to respond positively to criminal tendencies and onslaughts on our people, not only northerners, but our brothers and sisters all over the country. We have chapters all over the country, the 19 northern states, including FCT. And they investigate these details. They are closer to the areas of conflict, areas of disturbance, areas of turbulence. And they give us reports that are organic in content. Pursuant to these reports, Arewa Consultative Forum formed a security committee made up of retired generals, inspector generals of police, DIGs, and persons of integrity. And they reached out and investigated details, listening to our members at the chapter levels. And they were able to find out the causes and they made recommendations. Basically, the subnationals that are headed by governors and also at the national level, the president, they have the apparatus and it is even constitutional. And we try to reach out and to speak to them because we hear the hues and cries from our people, not only from the north, but also from the southeast, from the south side, and from the southwest. So with regards to the question that was actually asked by Dr. Abati, this is a national challenge, and it is our hope and prayer that it will be addressed properly and time as well.
So thanks so much for coming. We'll just have a good photograph and wish you well. I know you have another appointment. Yeah. Thank you very much. So I think we can all line up there. Thank you very much.
Was the Arise News editorial team in a meeting with prominent Arawa leaders earlier here in Lagos, an engagement aimed at fostering dialogue, national unity and cooperation across regions. More on this as we continue to track conversations shaping Nigeria's political and social landscape.
Managing your finances can be simple with the right partner. That's why we are leveraging customer-friendly tech to offer borderless AI solutions designed specifically for you, so that wherever you're banking from, home or abroad, you can be sure of the dependable financial support with First Diaspora. Open a First Diaspora account online today. Let's take giant strides into the future together. You first. First Bank.
Coming soon to over 500 million smartphone users and 1.5 billion voices. Leke, the social platform for the world, out of Africa. By the founders of Arise and This Day Media Group, we're going to be launching with a big bang. A new homegrown social platform born in Africa and built for the world, blending community, culture, and cutting-edge AI. It's fast, culturally rooted, data-friendly, and designed to scale globally. A digital platform for youth, creators, and business. A one-stop shop to connect, share, create, and earn. It's time to end social media imperialism. This is Leke, a voice for all.
Feel the pulse of the planet. From New York to Nairobi, London to Lagos. Our world is connected. Our stories intertwined. Join us as we navigate the news that shapes our lives. News through the voices that live it, the experts that make sense of it, and the leaders that shape it. Our network of correspondents around the world ensure that you don't miss a thing. Trust us to bring you unfiltered news, deep dives, and powerful conversations. The world never stops, and neither do we. Every second counts, and every story matters. Give us 60 minutes, and we'll give you the world.
Naira, shillings, China, yen, interest rates are up again. Commodities, bonds and shares. Seize the mood and mingle with the peers. Derivatives, currencies. Can't we understand it, please? Finance girls, the thieves and the tricks. Portfolio is getting big. Come on, trade. Let your money move with wisdom. Trade, trade. Let the markets take you there. Stay up to date with business and markets every weekday on the Rice Exchange.
Guy, with the rising cost of things, we need to plan our next move. Guy, I agree with you. I mean, with the money we make, we should not be struggling with our finances now.
Maybe you both need better banking options.
What do you know about better banking options?
I recently moved my salary account to Polaris Bank, and since then, it's been a smooth ride for me. They bought over my existing loan and gave me better interest rates and repayment terms.
Are you serious?
Yes, as a Polaris salary account holder, I can get personal term loan, auto loan, mortgage, 50% salary advance, credit card, and more without going to the bank.
Really?
I've got a personal term loan already. See, here's my credit card too.
How do I make the move?
Simple. Open a Polaris salary account on Vault. Use salary account as your referral code.
My guy, I am moving my salary accounts now.
Get personal term loan and more with your Polaris salary account. Vault is available on Google Play Store and Apple App Store.
Thanks for sticking with us. You are still watching Newsday on the Arise News channel. Now, Nigerian policymakers and experts are calling for increased funding for youth job creation schemes. They describe this as a vital step to tackle the country's high unemployment and rising insecurity. Analysts point to a clear link between joblessness and crime, noting that idle people often become recruits for criminal networks. They are urging the government to move beyond short-term measures and instead fund sustainable programs that provide practical skills and access to credit. The experts recommend channeling more resources into existing agencies to expand their reach. They argue that Nigeria's security challenges will persist unless young people are productively engaged through well-funded and transparent initiatives. Well, for a chat about the need for adequate funding of job creation schemes for youth as a step towards reducing unemployment and fighting insecurity in Nigeria, Arise News analyst Shobowale joins us now. Lovely to have you this afternoon, Mr. Shobowale.
It's a pleasure, yeah.
Absolutely. Now, this is such an important point and a very, very poignant issue as well, because we often speak about the rate of unemployment in Nigeria, but now tying that to the security challenges that we have, what's your assessment of that?
Well, they are both needs, the unemployment and the insecurity. Because youth need to be employed. If they are not employed by the state, then these insurgents and criminals, kidnappers, and those who want to break the law to get rich quick are there to recruit them. So it is in the interest of government to make sure that the youth are gainfully engaged and employed in a meaningful way. If the youth are educated, they are gainfully employed, the economy will grow eventually. But first and foremost, there must be security. You can see that in the various places in the north, we have this insurgency. You see that the insurgents go, they dislocate communities, and they see that people are unemployed. They provide facilities for them. Maybe give them water, give them balls, give them food, and shelter. And eventually, their youth go along with them. They migrate with them. So when youth are unemployed, when they are jobless, their need for insurgency. So it is in the interest of government for us to take care of the youth, and then to make sure that it protects the people within its territory, because that is the mandate of government. That is, we call it the social contract. We all gave, there is a contract we gave government. You look after us, then we will all be under your control. If that contract fails, we are obliged to look for protection and security elsewhere. But it has not reached that stage. It is still the duty of government and the challenge of government to provide jobs for our youth. It is even in the interest and survival of government too. So let's leave it at that.
But I would like to piggyback off something that you said. Education. Now, part of the reason we have unemployment is the fact that not just conventional education in the sense that you're going to university, but skill, experience, that is another part of the education that we're lacking as well. Looking at the GDP rebasing and the sectors that we're including in this, the creative economy, AI, artificial intelligence, technology, fintech, these are areas that not only require education, but some level of skill acquisition as well. How would you assess our readiness to accept some of the available jobs in these fields?
What you are saying, we have always had programs for vocational training, for engagement of youth in agriculture, for digital education, for people doing public works for government. That's why we have the National Department of Employment. They have always been doing it. But you see, if you separate the south from the north, you will know where the problem comes from.
How so?
Right. In the north, we have the largest number of under 8 children out of school, not to talk of out of work. And the north is so big, so vast, even though we have 19 state governments. The government is staying on the ground. It's staying on the ground. And you see, some in the rural areas value Islamic education more than Western education. So when these Islamic insurgents come, they are easy recruits. The youth are easy recruits because they have not gone to formal secondary school and so on. So they are easy recruits for these people to come. We must break that cycle. We can only break it if we succeed in restoring security to the north. We have to restore security. Then the state government must take care of their rural communities. Most state governments, concentrate on the rural-urban setting. And the whole of the country thrives on the northern, southern migration. I was talking of Lagos the other time, I didn't like it. But everyone is coming to Lagos. Why you are looking for a way to survive?
You're right.
And it is still far of, you see, if you don't take care of the youth, I hate to mention, you saw what happened in some countries, Morocco, Madagascar also, the youth just woke up. Even in Kenya, the youth got of unemployment, and because they are being manipulated and mobilized through internet, getting any small thing they are ready to take on government. They are copying Western European nations in terms of protest. But if they are gainfully employed, and I'm not saying that government has not done anything, the NDA has been there. People are, some of the youth know how to
You
get.
agree that there are programs like, the Empower program, the
That's
Youth
right.
Development Fund for raising capital to employ and teach, skills to young people. But to be honest, how accurate are these projects in terms of the attention to detail and the funding? There's such inconsistency with these projects. So if there's inconsistency there,
Availability to in terms of access for the unemployed youth. Because they say, look, they say you can only apply online. How many people have online facilities?
Although social media, they do have online.
Online. But you see, it is not only in that regard. And it's not always the case that our youth are not doing well. In the entertainment world, in the music world, arts, literature, poetry, go to the theaters, you see what the Nigerian youth are doing. But the preponderant lot, get me? I keep on still saying it. When you must talk of youth, you must include the north. The low education of the youth in the north, that is a danger to the security of the entire country.
But is it an education issue? Because, like I said, about practical experience.
Education is like freeing you from some bondage.
I understand,
Right.
which is an intellectual exercise.
Yes.
But I'm talking of about the act of skill acquisition. For instance, in areas of agriculture, farming, that is,
Yes.
carpentry. These are things that are learned. These
We
are
have
skills that are
ministries
acquired.
of social welfare and labor. In all these ministries, that's what they do. That is
How
what
well
they do.
would you assess the work that they do?
The fact that you have so many youth unemployed, there are so many youth unemployed, shows that what they have done is not adequate. But it is not as if the apparatus to relieve this challenge is not there.
So what is that
Apparatus, performance, there's no linkage between theory and practice. And it is the recruitment method is faulty. It has to be changed to make sure that the language of recruitment, of advertisement, gets to the appropriate target in the rural area. If it has to be in vernacular, if it has to be by sign language, whatever, it has not done that. Otherwise, you will not have the inadequacy we are seeing. And I don't think in the vacuum. And I know all the states have functional. When I was doing national service in the north, I worked in the Ministry of Social Welfare. So and that was about 50 years ago. So these institutions have always been there. But I don't want to say, but it seems that for decorative purposes. Because if the results still show that there are more unemployed youth than those employed, and we have some youth doing very well in some industries, and even the digital entertainment, sports.
So how can we realign? How can we say, okay, we understand these are areas that, if we're being very honest, have a huge impact on our economy as well. How can we align these job creations, these vocational skill trainings to present industry practices, to present viability of what is available and also what is necessary for our economy at this time?
Communication.
Okay.
Communication. We know what is going to drive. See, you can have all the paraphernalia of performance, like you write a diagram, so that's how you get there. On that diagram must function according to how you have done it, so that you can measure it pragmatically on the ground in terms of recruitment, in terms of the product, the product of the endeavors of those we have recruited. So that is our problem. Theoretically, we have the institutions on the ground
Yes.
to do it, but they are not delivering.
They're not delivering. But guess what, Mr. Dayashabawa?
Yes.
They do deliver during election season. Because if you think about it, political rallies, we're looking forward to the Anambra state elections on November 8th. These rallies are often organized and managed by the youth. So they,
You have solved the problem.
How
It
so?
means at election time, people are active in
Very
promising hope for people to do that.
Okay.
But once they get into power, they go to sleep until the next election.
what level of
That's the Nigerian
accountability?
malady.
No, that shouldn't be though. There must be some
That's
accountability.
it. Otherwise, you have the theory, the theoretical side. The campaign says it all. If you listen to the campaigns of all the parties, you will think once they get into power, you will get utopia in terms of economic development. But once they win, they go to relax and sleep. But then the electorate is their funeral. Next time around, they will vote for the same set of people. So a country gets the sort of leadership it deserves.
Do you think Nigeria has the sort, do you think Nigeria deserves the sort of leadership that it has?
Obviously, I think so. Well, what you have been talking about, that the theoretical things to do are there, but the link between theory and delivery has broken down. That is why we don't have the correct delivery, we don't have the correct answer. We have a proliferation of failure at every level.
That I couldn't agree more with you, which then still boils down to our leadership. But if we were supposed to take this
There's always a leadership.
100%, if we're going to
Yeah.
take this away from that leadership angle and look at it from the individual level, what do you think the people, as individuals, as citizens, must do to ensure that they do not continue to become victims of the situation that
You're asking for a revolution.
I'm asking
How will
you.
not I'm telling you, you're asking for a revolution. You say, what will they do?
What
to
can
make
they
sure
do?
If
You can
right,
advise.
what you have identified now is suppression. And I've told you before I was a social contract. But then, in all seriousness, all the states have the apparatus to make sure that the youths are employed. But the apparatuses are not achieving such goals. So it's a matter of mobilization. It's a matter of reorientation. It's a member of ministries responsible having a sense of urgency and a sense of responsibility to deliver on the mandate here as social institutions. That's it.
Thank you so much. This is Aisha Bawale. Always an interesting time with you. Do enjoy the rest of your day. We will take a break on Newsday at this time. Do stay with us. We'll have some more stories left.
In the beating heart of Owerri, business never sleeps. From sunrise to sundown, the wheels keep turning. And behind the scenes, vision meets action. Governor Hope Uzodinma's leadership has turned manifestos into reality. Transformations that feels like a miracle. But progress needs peace, and in Imo, it's not left to chance. From land to sky to river deep, guardians are watching, protecting dreams and opportunity. At Orashi's quiet shore, hydropower is rising, set to energize a growing economy. The change is visible. New roads emerge, industry hums, communities come alive. At the center, a digital revolution. 500,000 young minds trained each year to build the future. As Orashi rises, so does Imo and the hopes of the hard-working people. A new Imo is on the rise.
first day of the conference programming at Africon FNITCC 2025, presented by Fidelity Bank Nigeria.
I see in Lagos, Georgia, as a mutual gesture. Today, we are not just discussing policy, but forging partnership. Fidelity Bank Nigeria has risen to be the #1 bank in non-oil export agri.
We are Fidelity. We keep our word.
Guy, with the rising cost of things, we need to plan our next move. Guy, I agree with you. I mean, with the money we make, we should not be struggling with our finances now.
Maybe you both need better banking options.
What do you know about better banking options?
I recently moved my salary account to Polaris Bank, and since then, it's been a smooth ride for me. They bought over my existing loan and gave me better interest rates and repayment terms.
Are you serious?
Yes, as a Polaris salary account holder, I can get personal term loan, auto loan, mortgage, 50% salary advance, credit card, and more without going to the bank.
Really?
I've got a personal term loan already. See, here's my credit card too.
How do I make the move?
Simple. Open a Polaris salary account on Vault. Use salary account as your referral code.
My guy, I am moving my salary accounts now.
Get personal term loan and more with your Polaris salary account. Vault is available on Google Play Store and Apple App Store.
Welcome back to Newsday. Thank you for sticking with us. Now, Governor of Osun State, Ademola Adeleke, has appealed for renewed diplomatic engagement between Nigeria and the United States of America over the recent security situation in the country. In a statement issued over the recent threat of security and diplomatic actions against Nigeria by President Donald Trump, Governor Adeleke threw his weight behind diplomatic solutions within the context of decades of productive and rewarding Nigeria-American diplomatic partnership. The governor, who commiserated with the families of the victims across the northern region, said the American intervention is a wake-up call to rigorously implement new security measures and forceful counter-terrorism actions in partnership with diplomatic allies, adding that we need help from the United States and others to solve the terrorism challenge. Diplomatic moves to douse the tension and address new